My new website's been getting a lot of attention lately, and here's my secret. I used Wix Harmony. It's one of my favorite tools because it feels like such a natural way to create, and I have so much control over my website. I can just tell Aria, my AI agent, to create whatever I'm imagining in my head, or I can click anywhere on my site and change things myself. Try it for free at wix.com/harmony. That's wix.com/harmony.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's 1:07. You know what that means? That means it's a time for Inside Georgia Real Estate, ladies and gentlemen, with Deborah Morton. She's the owner and broker of the agency Atlanta. Let me get my swag on. Let me get my hat on, Deborah.
Put that hat on, Shelly.
I got my agency hat. I've been waiting for this hat for how long? A couple months now.
Yeah, if y'all never sign in online, you got to take a look at Shelly today.
So Deborah, let's start our conversation. We were talking off air, talking about what we were going to talk about. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, 448720750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. You were talking about a story, what's going on in Cherokee County, affordable housing in Cherokee County.
Yes, I'm working on a project to bring an affordable housing project in Cherokee County. And it was an interesting week because affordable housing is hard, y'all. That's why. Interest rates are what they are.
Let's do this.
Right.
First of all, before we go to that, define what affordable, because people say affordable housing all the time. It's like a catch-all phrase. So define what affordable housing really is.
Well, I think what's important for people to understand is that the age of first-time home buyers nationally has escalated to 40 years old. And the first-time buyer segment of buyers out there, we have growing inventory. It's a pretty flat market. It's a good time for buyers to get into the market. But we're not seeing first-time buyers enter the market like they normally would. Right. In fact, it's less than 20% of the buyers out there are first-time buyers. So we have resale buyers. We're seeing more cash buyers than ever before. And that makes sense because people with cash are not impacted by higher mortgage rates. So my research this week, first-time buyers is how young people grow their net worth. Historically speaking, for a family legacy to change, home ownership is involved. So, my parents bought a home, their parents before that, maybe the grandparents were renters. When people buy homes, it starts the legacy of net worth, of family stability, and they just become wealthier. Life is better. Likewise, on the other end of the spectrum, we have generational renters who never own anything, and they tend to, though they work hard, they don't contribute to society at such a greater scale because they never accumulate the net worth that homeownership brings to people. Right. So as a realtor, homeownership matters. It's not just realtors trying to make money selling houses. I have and all of the good ones out there are committed to growing homeownership for people because it's the right thing to do. And it is part of what makes America great. It is one of the fundamental differences in our country than countries around the world, is that homeownership is available to everyone. So what we're experiencing right now is a little bit challenging because the first-time buyer market is not able to enter, and it's not just mortgage rate. So historically speaking, a 6% mortgage interest rate is not awful. So this week I dove in okay, if we're looking at 6 to 6.4, it's going to fluctuate. Right. If rates go below 6, that's wonderful. It'll help a lot of people. But how do we put people into houses and make a difference in people's lives in spite of the fact that it is what it is? So the big variable that I'm facing right now in trying to put this package together is it's not just the mortgage rates, because that's what your principal and your interest does. You take a loan for, let's say $350,000 is the purchase price. You're going to put 3 to 5% down. So they have to have their down payment.
Right.
So that includes the principal and the interest. But the variable factor that is throwing things out of whack for a large segment of the public is Taxes are higher than ever before.
That's property taxes.
Property taxes, which are calculated into the monthly payment. It is collected by the mortgage company and paid and held in escrow and then paid once a year when the property bills come out. So taxes are higher than ever. Homeowners insurance is crazy. Y'all,
now, who do you pay in homeowners insurance to? Like a Geico or whatever?
Yeah, like State Farm, Allstate.
Gotcha.
Like there's,
you bundle it, save,
yes,
right?
Liberty Mutual. They're all out there, and overall, I mean, and we can shop. It's not something that people are stuck with one company or another. But overall, homeowners insurance has increased a lot. I don't know the percentage number, and there's probably an insurance agent out there listening that could help with this conversation.
Why I get why in a place like Florida or places like that. Why Georgia?
Well, in Georgia, we had a lot of storms and damages, last year in South Georgia that were devastating to many, many communities. And, through the Rotary Club, I was able to help with when that happened. So I have like firsthand knowledge, and I put my eyes on how devastating that was. But is that the only reason homeowners insurance is going up? I know in the Georgia legislative session, there's a bill, there's conversation about some of the problems with homeowners insurance. One of the things is not allowing them to send drones over to preview houses without homeowners' knowledge. That's some sketchy weirdness.
Right.
So anyway, pricing on homeowners insurance. So we have taxes, we have insurance, and then we have homeowners association costs have gone up as well. Now, homeowners associations are impacted by insurance as well because they're required to have insurance over the community.
Right.
So that, in addition to fees, junk fees, and just regular maintenance costs. So this is where inflation has hit everywhere, and it's a little hidden. People don't realize it.
Right, and so you put your 6 to 7% down,
or less. Like most people who are buying, if it's their first or second home and they haven't turned over 3 or 4 homes, because after your third home, you have accumulated enough equity that you're not having this conversation anymore. So somebody who has been in their home a long time, they have a lot of equity, they go to buy their next home. This conversation we're having right now doesn't apply. And good for you.
Right,
and the other thing in doing this research I found out is that the average age of, most people used to stay in their home 5 to 7 years. It's up to 11 years. And this is part of the lock-in effect we're seeing because people are saying, this doesn't make sense. The math doesn't math.
Right.
So I'm going to stay put. So this group of people who are impacted by taxes, insurance, homeowners association, and they're not putting 20% down. So they also have to pay PMI, which is mortgage insurance, until they get to having 20% equity in their home. Their mortgage provider requires that they keep insurance on the loan in case they default.
Gotcha.
So I'm seeing a couple of places where insurance is a lot, and it's impacting it. Is PMI important? Of course it is. We knew from 2007 and 8, I mean, that was a rough time, but maybe there's places where, God, if it were a little bit different, we could have some impact into affordability. So just this is like pulling back the curtain on how my week was.
So you bring up some important points because most people that are listening to us now, they're thinking, okay, I've got to come up with a mortgage, down payment, I move into my home.
Right.
But everything
remember last week we were talking about contract fallouts.
Right.
And with so many contracts terminating, my job is to figure out, how do we have less contracts terminate? Because we have buyers who are excited. They want to go buy a house, and the seller wants to sell their house.
Right.
And my job's to bring it all together and make it happen. So buyers are going and they're getting a pre-qualification, or they do an online calculator to see what they can afford. And they know what their monthly budget will allow. And they think, this is great. I can do it. But then they get under contract and they get deeper into the process. And then we're calculating the taxes and the HOA, all of these other things that are not visible from the surface. And this is part of what a professional real estate agent is supposed to help their buyers with, like how to calculate all of this and help them find homes that are under their budget. Wouldn't it be great if you could buy a house and still have a life outside of, you don't want to, people use the term house poor, where all they can do, they're just working to pay for their house.
Right.
I never want somebody positioned like that. So this project in Cherokee County, it's near Woodstock, and I'm trying to help the owner put together something that will actually work, because his heart and his goal is to turn renters into homeowners. And he's in a position to do this, but we are just bumping up against wall after, obstacles.
Wall. Right.
That so
the obstacle, not of the property being
turned.
No,
the houses are great.
Right.
The homes are great.
Right,
it's the financing that's the tough part.
404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk. Those are the numbers to call with all of your real estate questions for Deborah Morton. She's the owner, broker of the agency Atlanta. Again, those numbers are 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk. We will be right back. Shelly Winter and Deborah Morton, Inside Georgia Real Estate with Deborah Morton. My name is Shelly Winter. She's Deborah Morton. Let's go to the phones. 404-872-0750. 404-872-0750. 1-800-WSB Talk. Let's go to Ann from Roswell. Hey, Ann.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I know I'm on a crappy headset, so I'll just make this quick. I'm hearing a lot of companies say, well, we'll come in and buy your property and give you money to go ahead and purchase your next property, and we'll do all the repairs, and if it sells for more, you'll get that money. Exactly how does that work?
So there's several companies out there. Thank you. And this is a great question, because we're seeing it's a hard market for people. So I'm seeing more and more of these opportunities to come up. And individuals, a lot of them advertise here on the station. There's guaranteed offers, there's buy before you sell offers, and they're all basically a bridge loan into your next home. Some of them, like what you're describing, is the more robust one. And it would be, it's a contract that they're going to pay buy your house and you move out. And it really does create an opportunity for you to make a move. It's not a bad thing. You have to read the fine print. I highly recommend you work with a reputable agent when you're doing something like this, because the details of the contract matter. And in this case, I'll point out, they give you 3 months. We are seeing the average days for a home to sell right now in the Atlanta market are now over 40. So if they give you
40 months,
40 days,
okay,
40 days from contract to close for average.
Gotcha.
But that average comes from some sell in 3 days, some sell in 100 days.
Right.
So we're talking about averages. You're in Roswell. I was working with people in Roswell last week, and some of the neighborhoods are selling much faster, but some of them are not. And it really depends on the condition. So where an agent would help you in a scenario like this is you need to be able to predict how long it will take for your home to sell, because the terms of that contract, once you get close to that 90-day mark, you're going to be penalized financially. And that is an important thing to remember as you're moving forward. And each one of the companies has a slightly different terms.
Let me ask you this. Do these companies hire agents to sell?
Some of them, like I think it's Orchard is one that they have their own agents.
Gotcha.
And I have worked Orchard deals before, and it's just hard. They're hourly employees. They don't answer their phones, and I mean, like in general, I'm not going to say they're all bad, but an hourly employee type of agent is different than somebody like me and my team, where we work around the clock to get the job done, because we don't get paid unless our clients close and they're satisfied. So those are the things. The other place where some of these companies you need to be conscious of is how they're estimating the repairs and who is responsible for repairs. So I'll give you an example. Open Door was really popular several years back. And during the pandemic, they were buying up houses and charging the homeowner for repairs. And they were estimated they might charge $15,000. And then they would put the home back on the market and they slapped some gray paint and changed out the same carpet and same paint were used in every one of their houses, regardless of the repairs that were actually needed. Also, who they hire, like you can be in charge of your own repairs and get better pricing and better quality.
Right.
So there's and the repairs that are done will impact the selling price.
Right.
So because we're not in a fast-paced seller's market like we were 2 years ago, these contracts need to be entered into more carefully. Eyes wide open. If you know what the details are, they can be very, very beneficial. But if you're unaware, you can get caught.
That makes sense, Ann?
It does. Thank you so much. I appreciate you both.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling in, and
Yep.
send me a message on InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com, and I'm happy to help talk through the details with you for this particular one.
Thank you.
Thank you. 448-720-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. Everyone hold on. We're coming right to you. Inside Georgia Real Estate with Deborah Morton. We will be right back. Hey, everybody. Inside Georgia Real Estate with Deborah Morton. She's the owner and broker of the Agency Atlanta. You can reach her at InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com. You can send her an email. You can ask questions. InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com. We have a caller. Deborah, let's go to Hank from Beaufort. Go ahead, Hank.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Hi, Hank.
Hey, Deborah. Hey, my question is, I'm 7 years old, been working around land and construction since 1995, my own business. And one of the things I'm happiest about retiring is not dealing with the traffic. And it's almost like this town doesn't work anymore, and I call it uncontrolled growth. And I grew up in North Jersey, so I know about traffic. I've also lived in Sacramento and a couple other areas where they would slow down, rezone, so the growth wouldn't get out of control. But here it's almost like they do the opposite. So instead of having a single-family home, they'll put up apartment buildings instead of 2 cars in a driveway. Now you've got 52. And they can only do so much in the roads. I don't know if there's anything on your end where they talk about this or what. It almost seems like they're killing the goose that lays laying the golden egg.
I know, it is a catch-22, isn't it? Like, we all want Atlanta and Georgia to be a thriving place where people want to come. And we are still seeing an influx of people that are escaping states like California, New York, and,
Right.
you know, where they're higher, even higher taxes and more restrictive. But you're right, because each area, the northern corridor is where all the growth is right now. Like, there's a lot of growth.
What defines the northern
That would be
corridor?
like north
Corridor.
of the perimeter, but if you think north into Gwinnett and beyond,
Gotcha.
like you're going up into the north part, there's a lot of growth going up there, and it does seem to be. But on the other hand, we need growth. Otherwise we'd be flat. And I'm not ruling out the south segment of the city because I know there's a lot of land has changed hands. They just haven't burst forth yet. And I think that's economically driven, in my opinion. You know, it's going to be where people will pay and they want to move. But as far as there being limits put on us by government, no, I'm not hearing anything about that. We need more homes. I think we are all feeling the effects of all the apartments that went up over the last couple of years. And I might paint a picture here of me sounding like some kind of conspiracy theorist, but think about all the private equity that got into buying single family homes during the pandemic.
Right.
Then the private equity went into apartment homes. So housing prices went up. Who caused that?
Right.
And now apartments got built everywhere.
Right.
So but the fact is, builders have underbuilt for so many years that we need housing. And if people can't afford to buy single family homes or townhomes or condos, then they have to rent, and apartments are the solution. And Hank and everybody listening, I do consider myself an Atlanta real estate expert, but I don't have a crystal ball and, for what's coming in the future, or specifically to this. How do you control the growth? How do you control the taxes? How do you solve the problems that we talk about every week here?
You talk about taxes and home insurance. There's election season going on now. Why aren't any of our elected officials, why aren't they talking about these things and possibly changing them? I know they want to cap property tax. Burt Jones did that and everything.
There's a lot of conversations about it in the legislative session this season. And I have to say, the Georgia Association of Realtors stays on point with all of these topics. A big chunk of all of my knowledge comes from being able to follow and learn from people. I can't be all places at once. I have clients to take care of and agents that need my help during the week. But I stay on top of all of this information because the Georgia Association of Realtors follows and is involved with the legislature, and they do lobby for homeowners' rights and try to protect the consumers in the real estate transactions. But builders, I'm part of the Home Builders Association as well. They do the same thing. So every group has its segment that's fighting for consumer advocacy and to keep limits in place. But overall, this is, welcome to America, where this is what freedom looks like. We have to hash it out.
You got that, Hank?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. All right, 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. Deborah, you talked about when we first started the show, before we went on air, you were...
Y'all should see. I come in and 1:00 is a fun time spot. But my team and we are working realtors. So
right.
I hit the door.
running. But
running.
You came in and you were frustrated because of what you were seeing out there, and you said, I have to talk about this. But you were kind of not wanting to, a little hesitant, but go ahead and talk about it.
So I don't want to talk bad about anyone.
Right.
I think it's important for us professionals to do a good job across the board. We all know, just like every other industry, not everybody's created equal. Listening to Kevin's show, not every car dealer operates the way he does. So what I ran into this week is it's frustrating for people there's more homes on the market. They want to go see homes. But when you open up any of the apps to look at homes, you think, who the heck hired the realtor to take these pictures?
Right.
It's a simple thing. And when I see them and I see the frustration in our clients when they're trying to buy homes and they're like, there's no good homes out there. Well, they actually might be good homes, but poorly photographed.
Right.
So
that's why I wanted you to bring that up, because first of all, it gives credence to what we say every week, is that the realtor, the broker, the person you're working with to sell or buy your home is crucial.
Yes.
It's crucial.
And I will go back to, I haven't mentioned it in months, but on our website, we have how to interview an agent. If you're thinking about selling your home, please interview them. Look at their previous work. Ask smart questions, because once your listing agreement is signed, that contract is a contract. And I mean, there are ways you can break it, but you might not realize that the professional presentation, how your home hits the market, has everything to do with the actual selling price and how long it will take, because you only get one shot at making a first impression. So what I like to say, what we do at the agency is we bring that luxury experience to every price point, because it matters. It doesn't matter what price your home is. You're hiring an agent to represent you.
Right.
And y'all got to look at the pictures out there. That represents you.
Right. Because that's your home.
That's your home.
That's
That's
your
right.
home.
So be careful who you hire.
And so as you do you go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com, you find out how to interview a realtor, right?
Yes. Whether you're buying or selling, we put 15 questions together to make it easier for you to interview.
What do you think? Do you think earlier you talked about, and this is kind of, I guess we're in this vein, you said you don't want to criticize, but we're in this area right now. You talked about mortgage rates and all these things and why deals are closing. Do you think there's a possibility that some of these deals are closing because of working with
absolutely
realtors that are not experienced? Or
so the it's a cooperative industry. Your listing agent and your buyer's agent, they work together to bring the deal together. Each represents their client's best interests, and it does require a lot of back and forth to make it happen. And rarely, aside from 2020, rarely does one side get to just write the terms, and that's how it is. So the back and forth, when you're working with an agent in this cooperative fashion that is inexperienced or negligent or just doesn't care about the transaction, the clients involved. These are people, I mean, they're homes and they are high dollar transactions. So the business skills need to be there. Mm-hmm. Professional business skills, good negotiation skills require that you come at the negotiation with an understanding of what your party needs to accomplish and what the other party needs to accomplish, and find solutions. Good agents find solutions to problems. That's what I do all day long, is I solve other people's problems. And every professional agent that I've worked out, and there's hundreds and thousands of them. I don't know that I'm old enough to be in the thousands range yet, but I don't know how many. So. but it matters that both sides are well represented. I don't want my client to be harmed by a poor agent on the other end of the deal.
Absolutely. 448-720-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. Also, the website is InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com. You can also send questions to Deborah that you may have if you could not get through on the phone lines. Deborah, when you take these pictures... What? No. I want to go back to that because it's important. When you take these pictures, should you show? Because when I was looking to get a home when my mom was alive, and we would look at it'd be like 36 pictures, right? Mm-hmm. But a lot of times the pictures would be 3 or 4 pictures of the bathroom.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, what are some areas of the house that should automatically be photographed?
That's a great question. And really, depending on the size of the house, we have homes where we're using 80 to 100 pictures. Obviously, the larger homes with more of an estate, we're photographing the property. Every home deserves, the technology is too good right now to not have a floor plan, not have a video walkthrough, not have all the things. But yes, we don't need 7 pictures of a little secondary bathroom, half bath. Right. We do need shots that show the right angles. You also don't need to have 100 pictures that aren't helping paint a picture of what matters. We're supposed to highlight the selling features, and the pictures should entice a buyer who's interested to come in and see the house in person.
404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. Those are the numbers to call if you have a question for Deborah Morton, the owner, broker of the agency Atlanta. The website, InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com, if you want to send her a question. We'll be right back. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. Inside Georgia Real Estate with Deborah Morton. Deborah, you have on a website, ladies and gentlemen, you have to go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com. You can email Deborah there with your questions if you didn't get through on the line. But you also do a home report card.
Yes.
Tell us what's going on with that.
This week, I got to meet with some super people who use the home report card, and it was the first.
What is it, first of all?
First of all, it's a easy downloadable guide. You can just grade yourself on your home, so you can figure out, you're not moving today, fine. You want to start working on things that will appeal to a buyer when you do sell in the future. And these smart people did just that. So I got there to meet with them. their evaluation of their home was spot on to how I evaluated it. So it moved the conversation from, looking at the house to let's concentrate on the things that we can fix in advance that will net you more money with a higher sale price and a faster sale in the future. And we were also able to look at some of those things and decide what you don't need to bother with, and got to share some helpful tips and tricks about light bulbs that are my pet peeve, or light bulbs that don't match. So that home report card, I got to see firsthand today that it really does help people, and I'm super glad for that. So online, we have the home report card and we have the how to interview an agent. So if you're thinking about making a move in the future, there are free resources available to you to use. Just go online and download them.
Let me ask you about the home report card, people. When you guys matched up in your scoring or your report card, it moved the conversation forward. Were there any areas where there were some funny times where you were like, no, your walls are not the right color? I mean, tell us.
So there were a couple things that they graded harsher than they needed to because they were looking at it with a critical eye. And there were a couple little tiny things that I caught that they didn't. But the fact is, not everything in the home needs to be rebuilt or redone when they're ready to sell because they live in a nice area. And what we do then, the next step is look at what are their neighbors doing? We simply have to position them to be in a better position than the competition that's on the market at that time. It makes sense.
It does.
It's not rocket science.
I know, but I just want to, because I know how people will judge more harshly their own stuff. I'm kind of like
sometimes,
that.
And sometimes they don't see because they've been in the house for so long.
Right.
They don't even notice that, I'll use the orange recliner as an example. Every guy has not every guy. There are the comfy old recliner that you watch TV in. When it's time to sell the house, it's not going to help. It's not. We can talk about that. We can laugh about it. That recliner's comfortable, but it's not a selling feature of the home.
Right. and it's not coming with the home. People really...
But it will influence a buyer's perception about the home.
Right.
Even if they don't see it. Back to light bulbs. Light bulbs that are mismatched or a dim color don't highlight the home. You got a beautiful kitchen. Put some LED bright bulbs in there so people can see it.
InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com. And if you're there every day, you don't know that they're dim.
Right, that's right.
InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com is where you can go and ask Deborah any questions that you want. Deborah, last couple words before we go.
Shout out Mother's Day's next weekend. The North Cobb Rotary Club and the City of Ackworth hosting the Smoke on the Lake Barbecue Festival at Logan Park. It is free. Come on out Friday night. Free concert, Saturday barbecue competition, and cornhole competition new for this year. Free to everybody. City of Ackworth, Rotary Club. Come join us.
Next Friday and Saturday. Go to where to get information?
InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com. And happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Bye-bye. Talk to you all Monday.
Take the next 12 seconds to unwind and enjoy relaxing music. This ad break was brought to you by Wix, because we know running a business can be stressful. Creating a website shouldn't be. Learn more at wix.com/harmony.